Matthew chapter 13, verse 44. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure. Now you would expect me just to continue reading on at this point, wouldn't you? It's a sensible thing to do. It's what you learn in expository preaching. Read the entire text. But do you feel the weight of those words? The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure. As opposed to absolutely everything else being fodder and hay and wood and stubble that will burn up in the fire. But the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in the field. Let me tell you something about God. One of the things in classic theology that you understand is God is the God of revelation. Not the book of Revelation, but the act of revelation. He's the God who does all that He does with a great desire to reveal who He is so that He might be truly worshipped as He ought to be worshipped. Who glorifies His name, who takes center stage and works all of history so that His magnificence might be displayed. But there's also something about this God. He's always passing by. He's always playing hide and seek. He's always waiting to be chased, to be sought after. So many people in Christianity take a quick glimpse around, and when they don't see Him, they say, well, it's to no avail, and go on and bother themselves with other things. But the treasure in the kingdom is hidden. It is a treasure hidden in a field which a man found and hid again. And from joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. I speak quite frequently at universities. I think they like to just have me there so they can stone me and crucify me. But I remember one time speaking at a university, and it was a great big university group of Christians, and I noticed that right before the meeting started, all the co-eds, a lot of the girls who must have thought they were rather something, rather beautiful, marched in the front of the auditorium and sat in the front aisles. And so I thought, well, that would be an interesting topic to preach about. And so I looked at the congregation of beautiful young people, all in the strength of their bodies and minds. I looked at the young men and I said, you know, young men, you're so strong. Your bodies are your friends. You're young, flexible. Your bodies don't hurt. You feel like you could conquer the world. One day, you'll be broken and old, and someone will have to take you to the bathroom. I looked at those girls and I said, girls, you are, without a doubt, extremely beautiful. But did you know that one day all of you will be terribly ugly? I said, don't you realize that the things that you hold up as a treasure are not a treasure? Everything in your life that is not in the very center of the will of God, everything in your life that is not for Him and from Him and to Him, it is worthless. Paul the Apostle considered it dung. We hold on to so many things that do not count. When I was 17 years old, I learned a very important lesson. I became very wise. My father and I, we had a horse ranch, and we were rolling out a roll of wire to put up a fence, in which you've got a roll of wire and there's a hole, and you stick the metal pole through the roll of wire, and one man's on one side and one man's on the other, and we take off running, stretching out that wire. We were talking about the upcoming basketball season and how many points he thought I might average that year, and he was all excited. My dad thought I was the greatest basketball player ever walked. And all of a sudden, he screamed. And when he screamed, I dropped the wire. He dropped it. I caught him. We both fell to the ground, and he was dead. I learned something that moment. It doesn't matter how rich you are, you're going to die. It doesn't matter how strong you are, you're going to be weak. It doesn't matter if you fall in love with the greatest of loves, that love will be destroyed. Your youth will be gone in a glimpse. Your power wasted away in a moment's time. You are a vapor. And everything you live for is wrong unless it is found within the perfect will of God. Don't you realize you're dying? You are dying. Your children are dying. And the world they live in is dead. And this is not supposed to be your home. It's not supposed to be your source of joy. It's not supposed to be the thing you're looking at. Why look at a rotting carcass when there is a treasure hid in a field? Throughout all of Scripture, we hear God saying, seek me, seek me, seek me, seek me, seek me. Seek me and you will find me. And I will show you great and mighty things that you know not of. Ear has not heard, eye has not seen. But we can't seek because we're so overcome. We are so overcome looking at shiny trinkets, looking at things that do not matter. Treasure hid in the field. When a man finds it, what does he do with it? It says here, it says, which a man found and hid again. It was so precious. He found something of such worth. And he was almost terrified of losing it before he could truly purchase it. And so he hides it again. And the only thing he can think about is, I hope it is not lost. I hope it is not lost. I hope I can do all that I need to do in order to get it done, to go back and purchase that thing, to get it for myself. At that moment, when he saw that one treasure, don't you realize that everything else in his life became meaningless? When he saw that one treasure, everything else in his life became meaningless. Now, let's talk about passion for a moment and how it can direct your life. Let me give you an example. I love to bow hunt. I hardly ever get to do it much because I'm so busy, but I really like to bow hunt. And let's say that somehow, some way, I find a way that I can go bow hunt elk. And next year, I'm going to get to do it. Someone promised me, so I'm going to get to do it. So all year, all I'm thinking about is, man, I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to Montana. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I hope I can, go to Cabela's first. I don't know. I'm so excited. And all I can think about is I'm going to go elk hunting with my bow. And let's say that after 1 year of preparation and 1 year of thinking about nothing but going bow hunting, as I'm walking out the door, saying goodbye to my 2 little boys, my oldest boy, Ian, says, oh, Daddy, my head. And he falls to the ground unconscious. What's going to happen at that moment? Everything I have been thinking about for an entire year vanishes. It utterly vanishes. I don't stomp my foot and go, oh my gosh, now I can't go bow hunting. It just utterly vanishes because the thing of such tremendous value to me is in harm's way. Everything else in my life disappears. Every thought about having a good retirement, every thought about going out hunting, every thought about a new car, every thought about clothing, every thought about my own physical self, everything disappears. In a positive way, that's what happened to this man who found the treasure. I gave you a negative illustration, but in a positive way, that's what happened to him. All of a sudden, he saw. He probably had many loves in his life. He probably had many trinkets he called treasures. He probably bothered himself with all sorts of vain activities. But the moment his eyes were cast upon that treasure, absolutely everything else vanished. And the only thing he could think about, the only thing, was what his eyes had seen.